Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. It's another beautiful day, and we are going to continue on our discussion on how to set up a successful business in Ghana. And again, if we talk about Ghana, most of the climatic conditions and most of the settings in Ghana happens to be the same across board in Africa, in the whole of Africa. So um, we specifically are going to focus on Ghana, but I believe I'm 100%, or let me say I'm a 99.9% sure that most of the people in the other African countries can relate to what we are going to be talking about or what we have started discussing, how to operate a successful business in Ghana or in Africa. You can share this video, invite a friend, to invite another friend to be a part of this discussion. Again, um, if you want to be a part of this discussion, if you want to be a part of it by contributing or speaking, maybe asking a question or um, having a different opinion you want to table, um, just hit me up on either Facebook, because we're live on Facebook, or you can hit me up on YouTube and I will send you the link to be a part of it. We are no longer going to put the link out there for just anybody to hop on it because of past experiences. So if you want to be a part of this discussion, just hit me up and I will send you the link to join us and be a part of the discussion. With that being said, um, I want to zoom straight to the discussion. You're welcome to Leadership Academy once more. And today we are going to continue how to set up a successful business in Ghana slash Africa. Um, I believe the week before we spoke about the climatic conditions or the setting we have in Africa, um, the culture that has been created, which has led to the status quo where people are complaining of not trusting or not being able to get a trusted workforce or a diligent workforce in Ghana. Most businessmen are complaining um, of this, and that is some people hit me up, and that is the more reason why um, we started doing this discussion. So we spoke about the fact that we have created a culture of mediocrity, which is producing the kind of people we're producing. We don't challenge ourselves to break the ceiling. We have created a culture of dishonesty where we have people who are supposed to be um, teaching or showing us the way. Our predecessors are living a lifestyle of dishonesty. And I spoke about the fact that some few time back, honesty was a virtue, and we all coveted that virtue. We especially talk about people in our neighborhoods who are principled, who want to do everything by the book, and we really wanted to be like those people. So dishonesty has been created, and it's become the culture or the norm from failure of our politicians, um, every sector of our, I don't want to mention names, but every sector of our um, communities or our setting is being influenced by this culture of dishonesty. People in positions of power where you expect them to know better and do better are being dishonest, and it trickles down to um, the least of us in the community. So people are learning from what our predecessors are doing. And so we have created another uh, pandemic of a culture of dishonesty and a culture of disservice where we don't appreciate service. We don't value service. We don't develop our gift with the intention of serving our gift or with the intention of service to our community or our generation. Um, we have also created a culture of lawlessness, where we don't understand the 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 value of law, how law shapes and builds a community. We don't appreciate law within our community. We also have created a culture um, of lack of reward and consequences. We don't understand when we have to reward people and when people have to face the consequences of their actions. And in every law, there is um, an inbuilt consequence. So you can reap of the right consequences if you abide by the laws or if you adhere to the laws, and you can also reap the negative or the bad consequences of the law if you violate the law. So if we create a culture where we don't reward and we don't let people face the consequences of their actions, this is what we are going to get. We cannot create a culture, a negative culture, and expect to have a positive impact. So the people within that culture are going to behave exactly as the environment, the culture that has been created. So in order for us to set up successful businesses in a culture of this nature, there are certain things we need to do or we ought to do to be successful in that environment. And you see, it is not even unique to Ghana or let's say Africa. It's 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 across board. There are certain things that happens to be human attributes. You know, if you leave a society or if you leave a community unchecked, if you leave a community unguided, you are definitely going to produce some of this negativity within that community. That is why laws are there to help and guide and shape us to be able to conform to the law and be progressive within a community. And so if you come to, or if you go to any country where they are serious, you realize that these five culture or cultural attributes that I made mention of earlier on are in place. They have created a culture that will cause people to break barriers. They have created a culture that will make people go beyond the limits set on them. You know, they have created a culture of honesty. They have created a culture of service. They have created a culture of law. They have created a culture of reward and consequences. So within these five specific areas, if we are able to understand this concept, it doesn't matter where you live. If you don't create these cultures or if you don't have these settings in place, you are not going to be able to produce uh, um, employees who are going to be loyal and faithful and hardworking, initiative, and all that within a community. But then again, as I said earlier on, all hope is not lost. There are certain things that needs to be done, which is being done across board everywhere you go. aside from the fact that you have to do your research and find out what you're going to be doing, what kind of business, the target audience, the people who you're going to target to patronize your business, or the people you're going to serve, the capital investment and all that. I believe that all that has been in place. I am just going to talk about specifically how to get employees to work within the scope of your business, which is going to satisfy the vision that you have set up to um, create that business. So one of the things I want us to take a look at is the qualification and creativity of employees. Qualification and creativity of employees. As you see, it is very important we realize this. People having certificates does not necessarily mean they are qualified for a job. Those of us who schooled in Ghana would understand what I'm talking about. People possessing a certificate does not mean they're qualified for a job. You would have to go beyond just the paperwork. When people come for interviews, there are certain questions you need to ask them. There are certain answers you should expect from these people. We, for us as Africa, we have a blueprint of certain questions that we ask people when we're interviewing for us to know the level of creativity and how we can bring them into the fold if we want such people to be with us. You first of all have to not just rely on the paperwork, because I'm not going to go too deep into that, but those who understand the paper qualification is not just enough. You have to look for employees who are creative, who can think outside the box, sorry. So that is number one. Number two, which is very, very, very vital in creating a successful business in such an environment, is training and orientation. You know, most of the people that I talk to who complain about the fact that, oh, I invested X amount of money in my business in Ghana, and that was not successful because people were stealing, or people were dishonest, people were not in creative, they're not hardworking, blah, 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 and all this stuff. And one question that I keep asking almost every single one of them is, do you have a training program? Do you have a program to train these people to understand the concept of the business or the concept of the company you are setting up? And you see, most people think the training is just uh, what they have to do day to day. That is important as well. But the training and the orientation goes beyond what they have to do every day. And like I said, any successful business anywhere in the world does not take kindly to some of these things I'm going to talk about, especially when it comes to training and orientation. One of the things we have to understand is that if you want to be successful as a businessman, you have an idea, you have a vision, you know where you want to take your company, you know how your company, how you want that company to function. That is your idea, that is your vision, that is your concept. If you want me to work for you, or if you want me to work for the concept, it is, sorry, I'm not working for you. I'm working for that vision, for that concept, for that idea of the company. You have to make me understand and see what you're seeing. I want to repeat this. It is very, very important. That is the first layer to break. that negative um, 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 concept of employees in Ghana. You have to let them see the vision. You have to let them understand the vision. You have to let them see what you are seeing. So after you do that, guess what happens? That vision becomes theirs as well. They become a part of that vision. It's not just a matter of them working for you to make your money. No, you got to let them understand this concept. It is very, very important. If you want hardworking people, creative people to work for you, to be successful in Ghana, you have to let them buy into the vision. You have to let them buy into the concept that you have. So you set up a training that would make them see what you're seeing. Okay. So that orientation will first of all let them know the vision of the company. If you go to most serious, most successful companies, you realize that they have the vision of that company. And every single individual employee, including the cleaners, please listen carefully. Every single individual of the employees, including the cleaners of that particular company, are taken through that orientation for them to know the vision of that company or the vision of that institution you want them to work in. Every single one of them. Nobody works for you or nobody works for the company without knowing the vision of that company, without knowing the concept, without knowing the idea of that particular company. One, it gives them an identity. So they identify with your vision. That is why I said the qualification, in order for you to employ people, in order for you to get people to come on board to be a part of your business, you don't just go by the paper qualification. The paper qualification alone doesn't cut it. One of the things I'm going to say, the rest I'm going to leave you to be creative about, is the fact that there is something we used to call chew and pearl, pass and forget. So our schooling system, it's not grounded enough to make us creative enough to be able um to create or to think outside the box if you're going to rely on just the paperwork. So that is why it is important you you employ people who are creative. You need to have a set and some do your research, find out. You can you can contact us afterward. Um, we have a team that can get you what you call a set of questions for you to be using during your interview sections to be able to get creativity out of the people, to be able to find out who is creative, who is dynamic, who is versatile within your team. So when you're bringing people on board, number one, qualification is important and not just the paperwork, but some of the questions, how you're going to get these people to think outside the box. There are certain questions you need to ask them during interviews that will make them think outside the box, and the answers they produce will tell you if this person is the right fit or not. Number one. Number two is training. After you've gathered the people you want to work with you on the vision. Number two, you train them, you cause them to go through an orientation to understand your vision. It becomes part of the people. When you go to some serious companies, when you go to most serious companies where um, everything is going on successfully, you realize that most of the people who work within the company use some phrases like my company, my company. You could talk to the cleaner, and the cleaner is going to tell you, oh, my company does this. It means they have personalized the concept. They have personalized your business ideas. They have personalized the company's ideas. And so the vision is very important during the time of orientation. You have to let them go through the vision of that company. Let them become a part of that vision. Most times I talk to people who complain about the fact that they set up businesses in Ghana and they were not successful. Some of them will say, "Oh, I invested the money, I set up everything, I employed other people, I go there once in a while to check, and I have CCTV cameras to monitor and everything." It's not gonna cut it. It's not gonna cut it. The people you have employed view the business as your business, and they're working for you to make money. That is the concept that they have. That is the idea they have. They have not personalized the vision of that company. So they cannot identify with what you are seeing. All they know is, oh, I'm working for Mr. X or Mrs. X to make his or her money. That is all they know. And so when the concept becomes, I'm working for such a person to make money, the concept is, how can I also make money? Are we getting somewhere? So if the concept is, I'm working for Madam X or Mr. X to make money, how can I also make money? And so the moment that concept sets in, all that the person is thinking is how to make money, either by fair or foul means. And so it is important that if you want your businesses back home to be successful, let the people train the people, let them go through an orientation of what your vision of that business is. So they can personalize your vision. They can be a part of your vision. So they don't feel like I am working for this man, but they feel like I am working for a vision. And so, like I said, if you go to serious companies, you even find the cleaner who says my company, because they have personalized your vision. And so they know they are working for themselves. They're working for a vision I can identify with. That is number two. Number three, after you take them through the orientation to identify with your vision, there was something we call a mission statement, which they have to be reminded every time when they walk into the office, when they walk into that working space. They got to be reminded every time of the vision, the mission statement. The mission statement is a short or precise and concise form of the vision. The vision becomes the bigger picture, where you let the people understand, this is where we're taking this company, this is the concept we have for this company. And then the mission statements is when you summarize, let me put it that way, you summarize the vision for them. So, for instance, if you take Africa International Organization and Certo Leadership International, we have a vision to raise leaders to serve their generation. We have a vision to help the youth identify their leadership gifts, help them to work on it, develop that gift, and to serve them to their generations. But we have a mission statement where we've summarized everything, which goes like raising leadership to serve their generation, raising leadership to serve their generation. So you have this mission statement most of the time printed everywhere in your working space. Some people take this lightly, but it is not. You see, words are powerful. I want to repeat this. Words are powerful. They are very powerful. The more you say the things, the more you read the things. That is why some people will write their vision, their personal visions on paper, and either paste them somewhere in their bedrooms so they can see them every day. It will remind them of what the goal is and how to work and attain that particular goal or that vision. So it is important that you have mission statements posted in the workplace. It is very vital. It reminds the people anytime they walk into the workspace, it reminds them of the vision and what they are supposed to be doing to achieve that vision. So if anybody walks into Afriwick's office or Seto Leadership International's office, you are going to see the mission statement, raising leadership to serve their generation. And so you know the environment you're in. It means that it's an environment of leadership. So what is your mission statement? It is very vital. That is number three. I the number four, I'm going to skip something. I will come back to it, but I want to go on number four. You set up a reward system, which would boost up the morale of the people you're working with. Sometimes you talk to some of the businessmen who set up failed businesses in Ghana specifically. Like I said from the beginning, I know I'm using Ghana as a case study, but I believe that most of the people from the other African countries can relate to some of the things we're talking about. That is why I made the statement that Ghana/Africa, because our setting and our environment and culture is basically the same. You can just pick a few. Maybe out of the 54 countries, you can pick maybe two, three out of 54 countries who have created or are trying to create an environment which is different from the rest. But anybody who lives in Africa, most part, about 99% of the people can relate to some of the work ethics in Ghana. So the number four, you set up a reward system, a reward system which will reward the people. It makes the people identify with the work. So they personalized the vision. They know I'm working for this vision. If I work well, I get rewarded by promotion. I get rewarded by certain incentives, which got to be in place for the people. You put incentives in place. It's not just a matter of, oh, I pay them this amount or I pay them that amount. Just the payment for them knowing that I'm being paid alone does not cut it. You see, there's a difference between putting a reward system in place, like healthcare. It makes the people understand that you care about their well-being. And it's not just a matter of you paying them every month. So you set up a system where they can identify with a vision and be a part of that work family. So um um sick leave, vacation, um 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 health insurance, all these things got to be in place. What it does is it makes the people feel a part. If it makes you feel that somebody care about you. So the reward system got to be there. And then what I said I left out, but I'm going to go back to, is the orientation has to be periodic. It has to be periodic in the sense that after a certain period of time, the people have to go back to orientation. There's certain training manuals that they have to go through, certain things concerning safety, sexual harassment, and all these things, they have to be in place. People have to go through. Remember, you are taking the people. Like I said, every serious company will do this or does this, even from an environment where we think that everything is set up, lined up for the people to be naturally productive or for the employees to be naturally productive, they still do this because we are human beings, let alone you come from a background, a disadvantaged background. When I say a disadvantaged background, I'm talking about the setting is very toxic and negative. The culture of mediocrity, the culture of dishonesty, the culture of not rewarding people and all that stuff, the culture of lawlessness. So if you want to create a new people who will begin to break that cycle, or who will begin to have a new concept or a new understanding of work ethics, then periodic orientation is very vital. It is very, very, very important. You set up trainings. Maybe after every 6 months, you take this training. After every maybe 1 year, you take that training. After every period, a certain period of time, you have to go through this orientation. What it does is it reminds the people of what their responsibilities, what they are supposed to be doing in the workspace. It also reminds them and begins to change their concept, their mentality, the way they think about an employee. Remember, there's toxic in their mind. So you're pushing that toxic away. And the only way you can push that toxic away from their minds is constantly educating and re-educating them, which is very important. And sometimes what saddens me is the fact that some of these businessmen have lived in an environment where all these things go on, and yet they don't want to transport what is working successfully in one part of the country or in another part of the country into their own country. And what they do is they throw in the towel. Oh, I'm not going to set up any business in Africa. I'm not going to set up any business in Ghana or my country because the people are dishonest. The people are this, the people are that. And so we just blame the employee and we forget about the bigger picture, what has resulted in how the people are behaving and why we have such employees. And so, in order for us to break that cycle, we ought to take these steps. We ought to take the steps. So, constantly, you have to go through a period of orientation. And like I said, if you want to employ the services of Africa, we are more than able to help out. We would map out a training plan based on your vision. We would map out an orientation plan based on your vision and where you want to go with your company. For you, of course, it's going to be with a fee, but that can be discussed later. But if we are talking about you setting up a successful business, you cannot do without these things. Orientation is very, very vital. Keep reminding the people of the vision. Keep reminding the people of their role they had to play in propelling the success of this vision. So it is constant. It's a constant so long as they work with the company, they have to go through this orientation. And again, the reward system, stages of promotion, what you call it, health insurance, um, 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 certain allowances, whatever. I know sometimes some of the businesses are very small. You don't have the budget for all of these things, but put the plan in place and let the people understand this is a program we have for ourselves. And then the constant interaction with training, the constant training orientation would help us to be able to create an employee or an environment of constructive, progressive employees within the certain where the odds are glaring against us or they're glaring at us, you know. So it is very important. that we follow some of these steps. Those of you who did not get the part one, you can go back. If you go to our YouTube channel, Afriwick Media, we have the part one of how to set up a successful business in Ghana/Africa. Go back and view that tape. If you have any questions, if you have any dissenting opinions, if you have any contribution, you can also make us aware of it, and we would um, get into that for you. Let me go to Facebook and see if we have any questions. Give me 1 second. Yes, we are here to better ourselves and better our continent. It is very, very important. That is why we are doing what we are doing here. We need to bring all hands on deck. Okay, so oh, Reverend Thomas Kamara, he says, "Thank you, sir." Reverend, you're welcome, sir. That's one of the most I honestly respect and hold this man in high esteem. You have no idea. I love people who know how to handle power. They have power and yet they are humble. Okay, he says that you are among the individuals in Africa. If you people truly okay. Thank you so much for your compliment. A mission statement outlines the approach an organization would take to achieve its goals, with the vision statement articulates those goals themselves. Okay, so he has explained the mission statement for us. Great ideas indeed. Okay, I think that is, we don't have any questions. So far, let me see. Yes, we don't have any questions so far. So we are definitely going to close the curtains here, since we don't have any questions. But next week we're going to continue with this topic. We're definitely going to close the curtain next week, where I will sum everything up, so we would understand that, please, if you want to invest, if you want to do business in Ghana or in Africa, it is very important. We need to create the businesses back home for our people to be a part of the progressive society. So please do not throw in the towel and fold your arms and give up just because you invested and it didn't work. It's because you invested and you did not do what you're supposed to be doing. That is why we are taking this time to help us to understand and to be able to educate ourselves to know what we're supposed to be doing in order for us to set up successful businesses. Because when you set up successful businesses back home, guess what? It's going to boost the economy. It's going to help the people back home. It's going to help you as well. So everybody wins. So please do not fold your arms. If you need any help as far as paperwork, as far as consultation is concerned, you can hit me up. Like I said, African International Organization would help you do all that. And we can develop and move our continent forward. We can move our communities forward, and we can impact our generation positively. Thank you so much for being a part of today's Leadership Academy. Let me see. Mami, is it Akua Cherewa? Enchi is watching. Thank you for watching. I have DM Benny. Oh, boss man. Boss man, it's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while. I hope I hope everybody is doing awesome. Thank you all for being a part. Reverend, thank you. I'll definitely hit you up. Um, my love to the family. I paid him a surprise visit I believe last week. And I really enjoyed myself, and the message was on point and awesome. Thank you so much. My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of AfriWake International Organization and Certo Leadership International. And thank you for being a part of today's Leadership Academy. Next week, same time, watch out. Please share. Let every friend of yours who has the intention of setting up businesses or who's giving up setting up businesses back home, let them listen and watch this video and let them know that it's all not hopeless. There is hope. Thank you. See you again next week, same time. Bye bye.